Welcome back to the show. My name is Chris, and I am bringing you the third edition of the All Things Marvelous podcast. On today's show, I am joined by Gary Jones. He is a comic book writer, a screenwriter, and the founder of Divergent Comics. Enough talk. Let's dive right in. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, Gary. How are you today? I almost called you Discount Luke Cage then, but I had to, in my mind, I had to say, Gary, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Just woken up, full of life, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start my day. Good stuff, buddy. All right. So I have a nice list of questions here just to start with. All right, and I saw one that popped out to me earlier. Now it says, "What's the most random thing in your wallet?" I was going to say purse, but you probably have a wallet. What's the most random thing in your wallet at the moment?
I would have to say it's a Dave & Buster's card, a reloadable card that I use like maybe once every couple of months.
Yeah.
When I want to go and just play some games at Dave & Buster's.
Nice one. There you go. And what's your favorite game at Dave & Buster's?
It's the Injustice game, actually. They have that, and I love playing it. They give you like little cards afterwards that you can use for the next time you go play.
Nice one. And do you win what they call it? Do you win like tickets to like buy like items and stuff at Dave & Buster's?
Oh yeah, actually. So that's one of the cool things about their card.
Yeah.
All of your winnings go on the card.
Oh, they go on the card. It's all digital. Yeah.
Right. So you go up to the counter afterwards and you scan the card, and that's how you get your prizes afterwards.
So how many points have you got on there at the moment? Are you saving up for a fridge or something that they might have, a big item?
Last time I checked, I had like maybe 400 or 500 tickets on it.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a while. Just because I've been busy, but I'm gonna have to go sometime soon so I can get some more tickets and possibly get a stuff there or something.
And what's the most expensive thing? Because like I say, the one I used to go to in the UK, there was like stuff there for like 90,000, and it was like, right. I'm never gonna get enough to get this. so what's the most expensive thing there, tickets wise? Do you remember?
I want to say there was some type of water gun that was there. I believe that's the most expensive one. I want to say like for about 90,000 or something like that.
50,000, it's just mental. It's just a mental number. All right. Okay, buddy, good stuff. So next one, what's your real favorite book? And what book do you pretend is your favorite to sound smart?
That is a good question. I haven't read a like novel or anything in a long time, but
like a famous novel. No, too busy with comic books.
Exactly. There's so many of them. But what I would say, if someone asked me that, I would usually mention like one of the Hunger Games books. Yeah. Even though I only read like bits and pieces of them. But I would have to say my favorite novel that I've read and actually want to read again is The Giver. The Giver. It's an older book, such a really good book.
Okay, and who's the author for those of us, including me, who might not know what the book is?
Oh man, I forgot the author. I forgot her name.
Okay,
but the book, The Giver, really is about a dystopian society, and everyone sees in black and white, and they have no senses.
Oh, wow.
Except for like one person in the entire group or in the entire community who has the ability to see in color and has the ability to sense and actually feel emotion. Wow. It's a really good book. It's actually part of a series that I haven't read all the way that I want to actually read.
I might have to add that to the list. Thanks for that. Yeah, good stuff.
Of course.
Yeah. And the last one, and this is something that, this is kind of sticks with me if anyone was to ask me this one. What commercial jingle gets stuck in your head all the time? Or just not even just commercial jingle, but like just pop song, cringy pop song or anything, what just gets stuck in your head whenever you hear it.
So
right?
I have two answers for that one.
Right.
Actually, one is a commercial and then the other one is a pop song.
Okay.
The commercial one is the Oscar Mayer song. Yeah. That one, every time I hear it, stuck in my head literally for about a week. And then the pop song is an NSYNC song, Bye Bye Bye. That song, literally, if that someone sings it or even just says some of the lyrics, the song will stuck in my head for like 3 days.
Again, for a week, 2 days or a week. At the moment, for me and my friends, I did anyway, at least. I finally got around to watching Rocket Man. I don't know if you've ever seen that with Taron Egerton, right? And now the bloody song Rocket Man, I can't stop singing it anywhere, no matter where I am in my house. If I'm cooking dinner, if I'm if I'm sat on the toilet, whatever I'm doing, I'm like, Rocket Man.
That's how it works.
And I'm like,
Yeah, that did it to me too when I watched it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, okay, good stuff. So Gary, the last 12 months, last 6 to 12 months, how's it been for you, sir? The founder of Divergent Comics. So what have you been up to in the last 6 to 12 months?
Hectic, stressful, but exciting.
Okay.
It's been hectic because 12 months ago, I fully came up with the idea for Divergent Comics. Finally decided to take all the ideas that I have been working on and just go all in on it. Mm-hmm. Stressful because like once you get started with the process, everything is either on a deadline or there's something that needs to be done in a manner where you have to do research and figure out what's needed. You have so many people to talk to, causes a lot of stress in that manner, but exciting at the same time because now I've finally gotten to the point where I have comics being produced or being in the process of being produced. Yeah. And I have stories pretty much being churned out in a sense to the point where by the end of the year, I should have at least 2 comics or at least 1 whole graphic novel done.
Nice. So where did the idea for Divergent Comics first come to mind, right? What was the first memory you have of being like, I want to start a comic book publishing company? How did it all first come about?
Yeah, so it started like, I would say 5 years ago at this point. I had just actually started reading comics more consistently and really developed a love for storytelling and really a love for seeing how stories progress. And then from there, it just became a thing of, okay, well, all these ideas are coming in on how I can either improve a comic that I didn't really like or how I can see a story unfolding. So I was like, okay, well, let me come up with some ideas of my own. And from there, it got to the point where I started writing my own stories, but I didn't have any actual artwork for it. Yeah. And I thought, what if I made a comic out of this? And so 2 years ago, I had like I would say a dream where I was making my comics and publishing them and distributing them all out and everything. And it was like, okay, that just sounds right. It felt amazing at the time. Yeah. So from there, it was just like, okay, well, what do I need to do? So I took some comic book classes and did some research on the industry a little bit to try to get an idea. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it was just finally putting things into action. And that's almost a year ago at this point to the day.
Nice one, man. Hey, I mean, all the credit to you, man, for just taking the plunge. Because, I've spoken to a fair few people, throughout doing these podcasts so far. I have a couple of different ones. And, sometimes we talk about times when people don't take the plunge, And, you know, even though they might not admit it, I can kind of see on the face if I do a video podcast, and you can kind of see that they have regrets. So for you to have taken the plunge is amazing. Yeah.
It's a scary endeavor to go down, because especially when you're self-publishing, everything is coming out of your own pocket at first. And from everything that I've researched, and even up to this point, what I've done, you see very little profit from doing so. So a lot of it is, you just got to take a chance on yourself and jump into it. But yeah, I've actually been listening to your podcast since we first talked, and I actually have enjoyed the podcast so much. So I'm greatly honored to be on here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. This just kind of came about for me because of the current epidemic in China. I think we spoke about that. Yeah. And I was like, I need to keep myself sane. Being all cooped up in my house alone all the time is not good for anything. So I was like, I started these podcasts, just one of them like 2 years ago. And I was like, I did one episode, and then I was like, right, I'm just going to gain more momentum from them all. And like yourself, just took the plunge. Yeah.
Well, I admire it, honestly. I definitely plan on sharing your podcast and telling as many people about it as I can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was going to say, like, on a side note, at the moment, I can see that you're retweeting stuff at the moment from Doctor Strange 2, but you tell me that you've still not had a chance to see it, right?
Right. So I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, don't worry. You won't get anything from me. I've had a chance to see it. I should say, no spoilers for anyone listening. Don't worry if you've not seen it. But like, Twitter's an absolute minefield right now.
It is.
Absolutely. I'm looking right now at the trending, and I can see, and I'm like, yeah, like,
right.
Mate.
I've been lucky to be able to navigate through Twitter slightly and miss a lot of the spoilers. But it's definitely like one of those things where like I'll get off like maybe 15 minutes a day, and I'm like, okay, and then I have to jump off. That's why I was like, I have to see this as soon as possible, because these spoilers are almost impossible to avoid at this point.
For me, and I had to remove all traces of AEW on my YouTube, because they're a great, don't get me wrong, they're a great wrestling company. I have so many nice things to say about them, but they have a terrible habit of making the worst thumbnails when it comes to like big events. And because of the time difference, mainly, I don't really get to see the stuff until about 12 hours later. So it's like, if I'm on YouTube during the day, I'm like, no. And then I see everything, I'm like, new champion, and then I'm like, so I had to remove it all. I had to remove everything. Yeah.
I bet it's rough for you for sure.
Anyway, so I see this one at the moment. So this is your current series you've got publishing at the moment, called The Charger. Can you tell us a little bit more about that one, please?
Yeah, so The Charger is actually, I have to say, the story that's kind of like a personal child of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Originally started back when I was like 9 or 10.
Really?
It was a completely different story.
Right.
That the name and the powers and all that was everything I had when I was like 9 or 10. And when I finally decided to just go into writing comics on my own and making my own stories, that was the story I came back to. And I have a younger sister, and I named the character after her.
Right.
And this first issue is really just showing her origin in regards to how she got her powers, what her purpose is for doing what she does, and how she goes about getting her powers.
Yeah.
And it was a story that I really was like, you know what? This is something that I just want to give the people a taste of, like, what to expect from the type of stories that I'm going to tell, and really how to gauge the character of Layla as she goes about her day to day. And I have so many other stories ready to prepare for.
You just got everything up here in the mind, right? Yeah, you got
right.
So much.
Yeah, I have like notebooks upon notebooks of content and notes and things, and I'm just ready to get started and pushed out, which is going to be my first graphic novel that I finish. It's going to be The Charger. that's what I'm hoping to have done by the end of the year.
Nice one, man. I always get so jealous when I see on Twitter and someone says, just a quick 5-minute doodle. And I'm like, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, and you say 5 minutes, it would take me 5 years to like even get.
That's how I feel. I've been blessed to be able to find a lot of different artists locally in the United States as well as across the world.
Across the world,
that do a lot of really good work that I'm hoping to partner with sometime in the near future to make some of my other comics come to life.
Yeah. You said you were keeping up with my podcast, which is great to hear. Thank you so much. And my first guest, and it's a shame that it was just audio. I'd love to get him back on in this format too. But he's a comic book artist, maybe worth, you can always reach him on Twitter if you're looking for more artists to add to the repertoire. I would love for all this to like kind of become a community and like all my guests just come together and then you all make a super comic.
That would be awesome, honestly.
That would be cool, man.
Actually, right after I listened to that, I actually went and looked him up, and I actually follow him now on Twitter.
There you go. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, wow. So how about your other ones then? So the Charger, this is not the first one though, right? That was under the banner of Divergent. So what was the first comic book you produced? Or is it the first one?
So yeah, the Charger is the very first comic.
Okay. Oh, so it is. Okay. So you just beginning, yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I just started everything in like officially in December of last year. Mm-hmm. But I do have some other stories in the works, and the next few years are going to be pretty busy.
Nice one. Let's go back to that because that's really interesting. You know, when you were saying that you first had the idea for this when you were like 9 or 10. So how much did you actually have written at the time? And then how many years would you say did you leave it, or did you always keep going back to it every couple of months to add a bit more?
So when I first wrote the story, I can't remember what the person's name was. I didn't have all of that information written down. Right. Only thing I had written down was the name, the Charger, and then I had the powers. I do remember that the character was a male at the time.
Yeah.
But from that point, I literally left everything alone. It was just like off to the side.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until like 4 years ago when I finally came back and was like, let me change this. And so I rewrote the backstory for the character, came up with a new origin, came up with a whole new story for her that I felt fit more in line with what I wanted to portray and what I wanted to show in her series.
Yeah, nice one. So when you were coming up with those ideas for powers, were you've been a lifelong Marvel fan, correct?
I would say more so over like the last 20 years. I can't say lifelong because I did grow up like watching Spider-Man and X-Men series. So I did love those. But it wasn't until like the last like 10 years or so that I actually got into their comics.
Right.
Before that, I was more so a DC fan and reading their comics.
Yeah. So the Charger and her powers, who are they most inspired by, would you say? For those of us
I would say I would say mostly Static Shock. With nice. A little bit of Storm.
Okay. I do love the purple lightning. It's very cool. Kind of reminds me too of, well, not Raiden. I was going to say Raiden from Mortal Kombat, but his lightning's not purple. But yeah.
Oh yeah, Raiden a little bit too.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's very cool. And so you say you enjoyed Spider-Man, yeah? Spider-Man and the X-Men and stuff. Who's your favorite X-Man? And most people I know would say. Anyway, go on.
My favorite X-Men actually is Gambit.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, who also kind of has the purple powers, right? In a sense.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I love it. And then his whole backstory that was explored in the animated series and in a lot of the comics. I just love it.
I'm really hoping they do that character proper justice in the MCU.
Me too.
Soon. Yeah.
Me too.
I remember, which one was it? X-Men Origins, right? X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes, it was. So I have to say, the movie was bad, but I actually truly enjoyed the movie.
Okay. All right.
Like, it's a movie I can go back and watch again, and I know it's
interesting
bad,
viewpoints on the All Things Marvelous podcast. Let's get a discussion going in the comments about that. I mean, it's one of those things. Maybe when you look back on it, especially when you see what they changed or what they did in Deadpool 2, where they went back. You know, he went back in time and he just killed that version of himself straight away.
I love that. That was great, and I think that does make me enjoy the movie a little bit more as well.
Yeah, and they did it so well with the editing, right? So that, you know, Hugh Jackman, they didn't have to get Hugh Jackman back to do it at all. They just edited what he was doing, and then it's like, huh, what's going on?
It's impressive what you can do with technology these days.
Oh man, it's incredible. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Like, you know, the latest Marvel movies have been, overall, I would say, you know, at least, you know, visually, just absolutely stunning.
I agree.
Since Endgame. Yeah. What's your favorite, you know, as of right now, what's your favorite MCU movie? Or maybe give us your top 5, perhaps.
Okay, I'll do my top 5.
All right.
So I'll start with number 5. I have to say it is The Avengers. It's a classic. Can't go wrong with that movie. Number 4 is Iron Man. And number 3, Black Panther. Number 2 is Avengers Endgame.
Nice. Okay, yeah, that's high up.
Right.
Very high, yeah.
And then number 1 is
I'm gonna
Captain
guess.
America.
I was gonna say Captain America 2.
It is.
It's definitely one of my favorites, man. It's so good. Captain America 2 is one of those ones that you can just go back to anytime and just enjoy. You don't really need to know much else about what's going on in the world. You know, like if you watch, like, let's say if you watch Endgame, you know, that actually put a lot of my friends off, because they were like, you know, a lot of my friends who were casual fans, because they were like, oh my God, I have to go and watch like 21 movies for this to make sense. Or, you know, watch massive videos on IGN or whatever on YouTube to catch up. And but with Captain America 2, you can just
jump right in.
And then it's like an espionage film. Yeah, deception. Yeah, it's great. It's so good.
It is. And plus, Captain America is one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And to see how they accurately portrayed his character in that movie makes me fall in love with it every time.
Yeah, and just what they've done since, especially with like What If, you know, where they had Captain Carter in What If.
Oh yes,
amazing! Like, so
that was an amazing episode.
Yeah, and then, you know, the team up, right? Have you seen all of What If? So at the end when they have the team up, right?
They captured that perfectly. I have to say the Marvel Disney Plus shows have been a real delight. I have my favorites and my ranking and all of that, but I love all of them for the most part. Like, there's none of them I wouldn't sit down and watch at any point in time.
Yeah, good stuff. So when you let's talk about, you know, how you came to be so invested in comic books to begin with. Yeah, where did all that begin for you? And which comic books did you find yourself reading first? Because I've, you know, my last guest, you know, we were chatting about anime and manga as well, not just like superhero comics, but all kinds of comics. So for you, was it superheroes mainly to begin with, or was it a different kind of comic book?
Actually, it was Static that actually got me interested in reading comics. Growing up, I mostly just watched the cartoons. I didn't really have the opportunity to buy comics. But one day, like 15 or so years ago, my mom was gifted a graphic novel based off of the character Static. And it was like one of the first runs they had started doing at DC. And I read it and I really liked it. And from there, I just started trying to buy as many comics as possible. But I will say, since this is a Marvel comic podcast, I will say that my favorite comic is the very first comic that I read. My favorite Marvel comic is the very first comic that I read by Marvel, which was Avengers versus X-Men.
Good start. Like
that was a really good story.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones that I can just recall now, because in the UK it was much harder, I think, to find comic book shops. That's always kind of one reason when I started to get into it. I was always kind of jealous of America, because I would see like pictures of streets in America and like comic book shop. Every 2 stores would be a comic book store, whereas in the UK, much rarer, much harder to find those kind of places. But I remember being at a house party at university, and my friend had a stack of comic books, the host, and one of them, and I pulled it out and just started reading it, and it turns out it was like Civil War, like
wow,
the first one, he had the full edition, the full, the giant, thick one, with all the issues, and I was like, oh my god, like every page is there's so much going on.
Absolute page turner.
Yeah. Have you read through Civil War 1, 2, and as well? How about Civil War 2? Because there was a Civil War 2, wasn't there, as well?
Yeah, so I have read through Civil War 1, and I actually have the audiobook for it as well. I love that story.
Yeah.
Civil War 2, I read through it. Not that much of a fan of it, just because Captain Marvel is one of the many Marvel characters I do like as well. I don't like what they did with her in that story. But I did enjoy Civil War 1. Like, that one was an absolute phenomenal story. Actually is my second favorite Marvel story.
Yeah. So who do you think did it better when it comes to Peter Parker, being unmasked? Do you think it was done better in Civil War or in Spider-Man Far From Home?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because obviously, in Homecoming, they've got all of the press conference ready to go. Like, and you're thinking, oh, this is like the comic book, and it doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to say Far From Home did it better.
Okay.
I enjoyed what they did in Civil War.
Yeah.
And it made sense for the story they were telling. But because of the ramifications of what it meant in Far From Home, I liked it better.
No Way Home was so damn emotional at the end.
It was. Even my sister was crying from that movie.
I wanted him to just go up to MJ and just shake her and go, "It's me, remember." There must have been, because she had the necklace, right? So that everyone, the theory is that she still kind of does remember.
That makes sense. I like that theory, actually.
Man, yeah. And now he's definitely doing, and I actually really hope to see, well, they want to bring Tom Holland back, right? And I really hope to see them. It'd be really cool if they adapted actually the Marvel Spider-Man. Have you played the game on PS4 or PS5?
I have. So many times. Such a phenomenal game. That was an amazing story.
Yeah, it'd be great to see them adapt that in some way, and have, obviously he's fought Kingpin in the comics too, so that would be dope. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Personally, if they do another Spider-Man movie or even a trilogy, I would love to see them somewhat build towards the Sinister Six. What I would like to see is have at least one movie, though, specifically, I want to see them do Kraven's Last Hunt.
Yeah, Kraven the Hunter. Yeah.
Yes, because that story was absolutely phenomenal.
He's gonna be in Spider-Man 2, I believe, right, on PS5.
I believe so.
Yeah. I remember the first trailer, and it was him. Everyone was saying he's probably one of the voices, and then also Venom, which is incredible.
Yeah. they have that whole little universe.
I love it. Yeah. Another, like you say, another universe, right? If we're talking about the multiverse. So yeah. And it's an interesting. I wonder. Oh my goodness, mate! You don't go on Twitter right now. I've just seen something else, and I'm like, Oh, yeah, that happened in the film. All right, no, okay. Even I might click off at the moment, mate. It's crazy. It's crazy. Twitter, like that trending
Twitter
thing.
is
There must be a way. There must be a way to disable that on Twitter if you don't want to see the trending stuff, because some of the stuff it puts on there, you know. I lost my train of thought. Ayo. Oh, but yeah, no, with Doctor Strange 2, I'm not sure. Okay, how much have you heard? Because there's a very interesting theory.
I really have avoided all spoilers.
Okay,
I'm really good at that.
All right.
Only thing that I know about the movie is that somehow the Illuminati is involved in it.
Okay. All right, then I won't say anything. Don't worry about it. Yeah, no worries. But once you do see it, we'll definitely have a chat in Twitter on the messages.
Sounds good to me.
All right, then let's let's move away from Marvel before I do end up spoiling something. Right. I want to get back to you, especially when it comes to the screenwriting. Yeah. So when you first started to get into that kind of, that kind of medium, who were your biggest inspirations, when it came to screenplays and whatnot?
I would say my first real big inspiration for writing screenplays would have to be Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, good shout, good shout, yeah, good shout out.
Yeah, he does amazing movies. And the thing I like the most about Nolan is not only does he make visually appealing movies, but he makes amazing stories.
Yeah.
Like they're not just visually appealing, but they're also amazing stories. And I like that part of it. And then the other inspiration for me was Ava DuVernay.
Okay.
She knows how to
shout
make...
out. Yeah. Another name drop.
She loves to, or she knows how to really make emotionally compelling stories as well, and that's something I really admire as also.
Nice one. So, what kind of when you're writing the screenplays and whatnot, and the comic books too, what kind of style are you going for? And especially with this charger, like what are the main themes, behind it all? You've touched on it a little bit. But if we just want to explore that a little bit more, what kind of, as a writer, what's your style kind of thing? What kind of style are you going for?
So I like to try to tell an emotional story, but one that isn't preachy. I like to tell something that people can resonate with, can relate to, that they can say, okay, this represents me. And then they can, from there, go on and get another message, something that can speak to not only just people in general, but just society in a way that doesn't come off as some type of righteousness or anything like that, but just what it is, like what's going on and things that need to be highlighted. And that's actually one of the stories that I'm working on with the Charger.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not really trying to spoil anything about the future, but there's some overarching story that is going to be presented in the upcoming issues that I'm hoping that people pick up on.
There's minefields everywhere in this episode. We're trying to avoid Doctor Strange spoilers, your comic book series spoilers. Oh my goodness. This is a dangerous endeavor. Yeah. When I speak to wrestlers, it's fine. It's just like everything's on the table. Don't really have to worry about anything. But with this, it's like, oh, can I say that? Can I get away with that? Yeah. There's definitely more hot takes. So how about like for DC? Have you also been a DC fan growing up? And was there anybody superhero wise or any writers for DC who have inspired you as well over the years?
Yeah, I love DC Comics, honestly. I watched all of the cartoons for them, and then as soon as I could buy comics, I started buying a buttload of DC Comics, starting with Batman, going to The Flash, Green Lantern, all of those stories. But I have to say, when it comes to comic book writing from DC, the one person I really look up to the most and really aspire to have my writing be on the same level of is Jeff Johns. He has told some of the best comic book stories ever, in my opinion. With Green Lantern, he's even written quite a bit of Batman stories and things like that. So I really just love his writing.
Have you ever tried to reach out to any of these inspirations? Because everyone's on Twitter nowadays. Have you ever tried to reach out to these people? Just retweet, like their stuff, show the support, that kind of thing. And do you ever get any? Basically, what my question was is, do you have any like claims to fame here on social media?
I have one actually, from Ava DuVernay specifically. It was right after she did, I want to say I can't remember which series it was. It was a series on Netflix. It was the one about the people, the 5 boys who got accused of murder.
Okay.
But right after she did that, I watched it and I made a tweet about it, tagging her in it, and she actually retweeted it.
Nice.
So
nice.
That's kind of like my one little 5 seconds of fame that I will take to my grave.
Nice one, man. For me, I remember. Do you follow wrestling?
Not much. I have some friends that do, but not much.
If you know a guy called Adam Cole, maybe not.
I've heard of him.
Okay, yeah. So he started in AEW, and then I work as a kindergarten teacher here in China, and nice. me and one of my classes, we kind of replicated his entrance in AEW, nice. And shot a video. I sent it over to. Well, I told him about it on Twitch first, and he was like, "Wow, sounds cool." I couldn't believe it. Actually, I was like, "Wow, talking to Adam Cole here, this is pretty cool." And he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to see it, and send it over to Twitter." And I did, and then he retweeted it and liked it, and
wow,
it went massive. It went viral. Well, I'd say viral for me. It got like 16,000 views, I think. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and now I'm struggling to break 200 views at the moment with any video, but yeah.
Oh, that's going to change soon. I can see it.
Thank you, man. Again, man, I appreciate it. So much love. So much love. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah, man. I saw a tweet you posted just to stay with DC. You just watched the newest Superman and Lois episode 2 days ago.
Yes.
So It sounds to me like this is a positive tweet. Did you enjoy it?
Oh man, this show, it came out of nowhere for me.
The CW. This is the CW one, right?
It is, yes. Yeah, it's a CW show. It's also broadcast on HBO Max once the season ends. But yeah, I was not anticipating the show to be as good as it has been, because although I watch a lot of the DC CW shows, they all aren't that good. It's just the fan in me that won't stop watching them.
yeah, it's a shame with just to interject there for a second. It's a shame with a lot of the CW stuff. A lot of it dropped off.
Yes.
Right. I feel like with with the Arrow, they kind of ended that, or ended the thing with Oliver Queen. It was all well done, I guess, even though I started to lose interest. But with the Flash, I think the Flash is unfortunately, and I don't want to say that because I don't want to say that because the guy Grant Gustin is a fantastic actor, like for playing that character. And I think I saw a Twitter poll, or it was on the trending for like him to be in the Flash movie, So,
we all want him to replace Ezra Miller at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, what was your Superman and Lois? That's your favorite CW show right now, yeah?
Definitely. Yeah. Hands down, no question. Honestly, like the thing, I've always been a Superman fan. Mm-hmm. But I feel like a lot of the movies don't accurately portray.
They don't do it justice. They don't do it justice. No, I agree.
Superman and Lois does it perfectly. Tyler Hoechlin is an amazing Superman, and he's an amazing Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. And this is a must-watch for anybody who was on the fence for it or who just like wanted that extra nudge, they should definitely watch the show.
He has, the guy who plays Superman in the CW show. He has such range to the point where I couldn't believe when I saw his name in the Final Fantasy VII remake, and I'm like, you play Sephiroth? Really? He plays Sephiroth in the remake. I'm like, does not sound like him at all. Like, you think about how he acts in Superman, and then go and see go and find a clip of Sephiroth in the FF7 remake, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like
I think it's their game now.
Yeah, it's like with the other guy, and he was in The Walking Dead, and then he was. Of course, John Bernthal too. Yeah.
Right.
He's doing great stuff. But no, I'm thinking of the guy who was Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah. And I'm like, that's the Walking Dead guy.
Yes, he's really good too. I love his work.
As far as like method acting, yeah, absolutely. It just sounded like I forget his name, but the guy who played Red Skull in Captain America 1.
Right, I can't remember his name either. His name escapes me, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he just played it so well. Yeah.
He did.
So as far as for range, Tyler in the CW show, right up there. Fantastic, mate. All right, I think we're reaching the point where we're gonna take a bit of a break here and play some Marvel trivia.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, buddy, here we go then. And the music should be playing right now when I do the editing. There you go. Editor, put the music on. All right, good stuff. Okay, right, so for today, in the podcast I did yesterday, episode number 2, we were going through all of the Marvel films, the MCU films. We were seeing how many he could get in a row, yeah? For this one, can you pick the Marvel characters and match them to their alter egos, first name and surname? Oh,
should be fun.
Right, so on my screen, I've got a list on the left of, Marvel characters. And then I want you to just give me your first and possibly second answer, and then we'll see how many you can get in a row, okay?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, mate. First up, Beast.
Hank McCoy.
That's 1 point. Very good. All right, good stuff, mate. All right, Black Widow.
Natasha Romanoff.
That's 2. Yeah, nice one, man. We're doing well. Captain America. Oh my God, this should be quite easy, I think. I think it's going to be the easiest thing ever for you. All right, Colossus.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
I'm
eating my words right now. Like I just said, it's the easiest thing ever. Then I said that. All right, so yeah, Colossus.
I believe his first name is Ivan. I cannot think of his last name for nothing. Yeah, Ivan. I can't think of his last name.
All right, okay. Unfortunately, this doesn't tell me, but okay. Ivan. There's not even an Ivan here, so.
Tragic.
Yeah. Another guess, maybe? Oh, I think I'll help you out with this one. I think, isn't it his first name Victor? No, maybe not. I don't think so. No. All right, let's move on. Yeah, let's move on. So that's 3 for 1. Yeah, let's say. All right, Cyclops.
Scott Summers.
4 for 1. 4-1. All right, Daredevil.
Matt Murdock.
5. All right, Deadpool. Here we go.
Wade Wilson.
6-1. Green Goblin.
Norman Osborn.
7-1. Hawkeye. Oh, man, we're gonna start going.
Clint Barton.
7. Yeah. Hulk.
Bruce Banner.
Human Torch.
Johnny Storm.
Iceman.
I should know this one because he was in Spider-Man: The Amazing Friends, and he was prominent X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can guess this one though.
I believe his first name was Bobby, right?
Bobby Drake.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah. I'll give you a point for that one.
Okay.
Invisible Woman.
Sue Storm.
Mm-hmm. Iron Man.
Tony Stark.
Magneto.
That is Eric. What is his last name? I cannot know his last name.
Ooh. Oh, I think I know what it is. It is Eric. Eric. Isn't it Eric Wagner? Eric Wagner?
Is it Eric Wagner? I thought Wagner was the last name for Nightcrawler.
I like how for this one on this podcast I'm just helping you because we both go through it together. Usually I've got all the answers, but not for this one. Let's move on. Yeah, let's just move on. I think it's like Eric Wagner. Yeah, we'll have to do some research in a minute. Mr. Fantastic.
Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm. Nightcrawler.
I should know this one. I know.
Oh, I think Nightcrawler is Wagner, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Nightcrawler's last name is Wagner. I just can't remember his first name.
Kurt, isn't it?
Kurt Wagner. Kurt Wagner.
Yeah, got it. All right. Phoenix.
Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm. Professor X.
Charles Xavier.
Punisher. Oh,
Frank Castle.
Oh,
I had a
I got nervous to you then for a second. Rogue.
I always call her Rogue. I never call her by her real name. I don't know that one.
Okay. Sabretooth.
Victor.
It is Victor. Yeah. Well, I can't remember. I said Victor earlier. Yeah, Victor. Ooh. No. Half a point for that. If I'm not even keeping track anymore, sorry, but like half a point. Yeah. Excuse me. Next one, Shadow Cat. I don't know what that is.
Kitty Pryde.
Oh, Kitty Pryde. Yeah. She-Hulk.
Jessica. Is it Jessica Andrews?
Sounds right.
I think it's Jessica Andrews.
Okay. Right. And next one, Silver Surfer. Ooh.
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know his name. I
don't know at all. Spider-Man. I'm not even gonna. Come on. Which Spider-Man? There's been a few.
Right.
Yeah. Peter Parker. Yeah. Storm.
Aurora Monroe.
Aurora. Yeah. Aurora Monroe. Yeah. Thing.
Ben Grimm.
War Machine.
James Rhodes.
And Wolverine.
Logan. Is it James Logan or Logan James?
Oh, hang on a minute. Now have another think. Excuse me. Have another think with that one, because I've not got Logan on here. I've got a different name for him. What else was he known as? And they talked about it in X-Men Origins. You're right with James. First name.
Okay. I cannot remember that.
Think about what a wolf does to the moon.
James Howell?
James Howell.
Howling.
James Howling. Sorry. James Howlett.
Howlett. Oh.
Yeah, do you remember? Yeah, and that. Yeah,
I do remember that.
They didn't talk about it much at all.
Vaguely. It was kind of like a passing type thing, right?
Yeah, I think it was in the first X-Men film. He was called James Howlett too, wasn't he? He's like, I don't go by anything. I'm just James Howlett, and then last one, Luke Cage.
His original name.
Oh, well, I don't even know this. So this is interesting now. I thought it was just okay.
Yeah, in the show, and they mentioned it. Carl Lucas. That was his original name.
Well done. Hey, you got it. Good stuff. Jessica Jones. That was just the same, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is definitely her name. She's one of the few that just goes by her name.
Okay, mate. I think you've got let's say 1 million points. You did really well. Good stuff.
I won't say I missed like maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, actually, it was pretty tough. Actually, halfway through, I wasn't expecting some of it. So yeah, you did well, though. Yeah, you did well, man. And that's and the music can now stop. Good stuff. All right, mate. Let's talk about this. Because one of my questions at the beginning was going to be maybe a nickname that people have for you that people actually use. And now, obviously, on Twitter, you're known as Discount Luke Cage. How did all that come about? Just before we move to the future here.
So it's funny. When the show Luke Cage came out on Netflix years ago, so many of my coworkers would say that I look like the actor, and it was kind of like a passing type thing. Like, hey, you look like Luke Cage. And one year, I was going to Comic-Con and I actually cosplayed as Luke Cage.
Okay, I was going to say that was going to be my next question. Yeah, did you actually cosplay? Yeah.
I did.
Easiest cosplay ever, really, when you think about it. Just a yellow T-shirt. Yeah.
Exactly. It was so easy. It was perfect. And so it just kind of became a thing that like I kind of took on, and it's kind of like my running joke now. It's like, yeah, I'm the Discount Luke Cage.
Did you ever around that time when you were cosplaying as him, did you ever connect with the actor on Twitter?
I didn't actually, but that's something that I have tried over the last maybe year or so since they canceled the show.
Yeah,
and I believe I got a retweet from the showrunner.
Nice one. And then just one more question about that. Obviously, like in No Way Home, which I think we can spoil No Way Home. I think most people have seen it now. Obviously, you got Matt Murdock, right? The same actor from Netflix. Who else do you want to see from the Netflix shows coming back? To join the MCU.
I would definitely love to see Jessica Jones come back. I really loved her. Luke Cage for sure. And honestly, I want to see Colleen Wing come back.
Oh yeah.
I loved her.
And who do you want them just to keep in Netflix and just leave them there? I know you're going to say probably.
They can definitely keep Iron Fist.
Which is a shame, man, because he's a great actor, but I think just the way he was written was.
He was poorly written.
Yeah, very.
But also, I never saw him as Iron Fist. Even when they did the casting, I didn't see the casting for him.
No. I'd also love to see, and I think he's gone on record saying he'd be interested if they could get him into the MCU somehow. But just John Bernthal as Punisher.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, he was literally perfect. I love the Punisher series.
Because I really hope. Okay, yeah. Just moving to the future. Yeah, I really hope with like Marvel Studios that they have a darker side too. I know it's all owned by Disney, and they can only do so much. But I love some of the films. Like they got Blade coming out in the future, and you would hope that starts to take it down a darker path as well.
Exactly. I was hoping that they would kind of do that with Moon Knight personally.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. It's definitely got its moments.
Yeah, it like gets to the edge, but it doesn't go over. And it's okay for what they were wanting to do. And one of the things I'll never fault Marvel for is sticking to their rating.
Right.
But there are some things I just feel like they should just go ahead and just push that envelope.
Right.
And I believe if they were to make like a Punisher or with the Blade series, that they need to push the envelope with it.
They do, yeah, absolutely. There's no way the fans would be happy if you have a PG-13 Punisher. No way.
Right.
But like, I'm just gonna go and read the Punisher Max comics instead. You know, you'd be thinking you're sat there in the cinema, you know, which are gory as hell, yeah. Some of the comics, like, just insane. All right, mate. So looking to the future for yourself as well, yeah. As we just start to round up here, it's been a fantastic chat, man. I wish we could chat for another hour or two, but yeah.
Right, it was very enjoyable.
Thank you so much. I'm thinking about obviously the time difference for you. You've probably been up since 6 this morning, working hard. So yeah, you need to get ready to do it all again tomorrow. But as we just look to the future for Divergent Comics, and this is the classic job interview question that I like to use. You know, where do you see, you know, both yourself as a writer, and where do you see Divergent Comics going in the next, let's say, 1 and 5 years?
So in the next year, as a writer, I personally see myself as being way more consistent. Like right now, I'm consistent enough to churn out a script in a month like I need to. But I want to get to the point where I can work on multiple scripts and have them all churned out within that same time frame. Mm-hmm. For Divergent, I'm really hoping that the plan that I have in place to work on releasing at least 2 graphic novels a year starts to become a thing. So hopefully by the end of this year and then going into next year, I can have not only the Charger graphic novel done, but hopefully starting on the next graphic novel that I'm working on. Nice
one. And how about like for the long-term goals? Do you see yourself, because I like to talk to, you know, the guests about this. Do you see yourself as being, I would hope so. I would hope you'd see yourself as being competition for Marvel in the future.
I would say maybe
that's going to be everyone's dream. You know, when I speak to wrestlers, I say, you want to be in WrestleMania, right? So for comic book artists and writers, do you see yourself toppling Marvel?
I would say maybe, if not competition for Marvel, I wouldn't mind being part of DC.
Yeah.
They have a lot of hectic craziness going on. Yeah. So it kind of makes me uneasy, but I love their characters. I love their stories.
Yeah.
And I would love to work on one of those stories one day. Yeah. Preferably a Nightwing or maybe even a Cyborg story.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably like maybe like my long-term goal, either to write for DC Comics or maybe even write a movie or a TV series for DC. That would be my long-term goal.
There you go. Nice one. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And then for Divergent, I would say hopefully by the long-term goal is to at least have multiple stories produced and published to the point where, you know, it's not just local, it's, you know, all over the world.
Yeah. And, you know, just another point about that before we get to this final question, but another point about that, competition is good. I think it doesn't matter what industry it's in, especially wrestling now with WWE having the competition of AEW. And I think Marvel needs more than just DC, because I think then I think it'll force everyone to raise the game, right? If you have the competition.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Good stuff. All right, mate. So final question, yeah. The $1 million question, the £1 million question. At this point in your comic book career, Gary, what are you most grateful for?
I would say the connections I've made.
Connections. Yeah.
I've met a lot of indie publishers, a lot of indie artists and writers that just are indulged in the craft, and learning from them and being able to get nuggets and being able to support them in any way that I can. I would say I'm most grateful for that aspect of it.
Awesome. Nice, clear, concise answer. I love it. Thank you very much. And as we come to the conclusion here, just want to thank you one more time for joining the show today. It's been awesome.
No, thank you for having me on. It's, like I said, it's an honor. Truly and thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to hopefully being on another time soon.
Awesome, man. And one final time, the floor is yours now. And you can just let us know what's going on at the moment and where we can find you on social media. And if you have any links, other links, maybe it's like Kickstarters or that kind of thing, now's the time, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at GMTJ4G.
That's quite a mouthful for a Twitter handle.
Very.
Someone's trying to write it down like GM T what J2.
Yeah, I was real young when I won't say I was real young, but I was kind of in a weird phase when I was coming up with it. It's essentially just my initials and everything. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's where you can find me on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram with the handle GMTJ2K. Mm-hmm. Original, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on there. I don't have any current links yet for anything else, but I will definitely keep everyone posted once the Kickstarter for the Charger graphic novel gets started.
There you go. Awesome, man. And I'll make sure to put all of those links, including your LinkTree account too. I'll make sure to put all those links in this description on Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. Awesome. Thank you very much, man. Well, all the best and good luck for the rest of 2022 and beyond. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chris. Hope for the best for you, man.
And as always, not just thank you to Gary Jones for taking the time to join us here on the show today. Not just thanks to him, but thanks to you as well for listening and watching. If you enjoyed what you saw and what you heard today, I would really appreciate a like, a comment, a subscribe would be great too, and a ring-a-ding of the notification bell. Thanks very much for joining, and I'll see you all in the next edition of the All Things Marvelous podcast. Bye for now.